What's up, Reader? Shade Tree Surgeon here, and today we're talking choppers. Well, we're not just talking choppers, we're making choppers. Well, maybe we're not making a chopper. How do you make a chopper anyway? What exactly makes a chopper? Okay, let me rephrase this. Today we are taking a chopper that's not quite a chopper and making it more of a chopper, but still not one.
Guess where you just got into? Cool guy zone.
And if that sounds confusing, don't worry, nobody's more confused than me. I just don't mind it, that's all. Now, let's go get that bike. And in the immortal words of Arnie himself, it's not a chopper. Or something like that. I might be paraphrasing. If you guys remember this Sportster, it's one that I test rode at Bert's Barracuda. And after all the interest in this motorcycle, Bert actually decided to not sell it to anybody, take it off the showroom floor, and put it as a early giveaway in the Supercharged Road Glide giveaway. That giveaway is benefiting homeless veterans. It's going to help those who fought for this country and those who are the most in need to help them bridge the gap, get off the streets, and get an address. Bert's Salute to America Foundation is doing amazing things for our veterans, and we're doing it with motorcycles, which always makes it a little more fun. That link's down below. We'll be pulling the winner for this Sportster soon. And of course, every ticket bought, even if you win the Sportster, still enters you to win the Supercharged Road Glide. But enough about high technology, high horsepower, insanely fast, race-bred Supercharged Road Glide. Let's go a little slower. Now, depending on who you ask, a customized, bobbed-out chopper Sportster like this is a way cooler motorcycle than a Supercharged Road Glide. And yeah, when I first rode this thing, of course I called it a chopper. I use the term pretty loosely, much to the chagrin of several people in my comment section. You know who you are. In the strictest sense of the word, no, this is not a chopper. Now, if Bruce Willis was riding it, baby, it's not a motorcycle, it's a chopper. That's kind of how I use it. I really just end up using the word chopper to just describe a V-twin customized motorcycle like this. I guess if you really wanted to be militant about it, you would call it a bobber, since things have been bobbed, not actually cut, re-welded, and changed around, but we're just gonna go ahead and call it a chopper. Now, they've done a few things to this bike. It's got a really cool paint job. I guess that's subjective. I think it's a really cool paint job. And they've done a few things here and there to make it look more like a chopper, and we're not chopping the rear end off of it. A lot of guys will tell you a chopper has to have a hardtail. Well, now you don't have to chop the rear end off a motorcycle to make it a chopper. You can chop and raise the neck as well in the front and leave shocks on it. Would that not be a chopper? Of course it would. Regardless though, we're leaving this one with suspension because whoever wins it, well, you can put a hardtail on it if you want, but I don't know if we're gonna do that for a giveaway bike. We are gonna do a little more than whoever owned this bike before well, I don't own it. One of you guys owns it. Somebody who bought a raffle ticket owns it. But we're gonna do a little more to it before one of you guys gets it. Now, one of the cool things about Sportsters is that if you get rid of all the junk that's right here, they really look like choppers already. They already look like they have a raised and stretched neck. It's something that's really cool about Sportsters is that you can just kind of move things around. That's why so many people do tank lifts and really just absolutely change the look of the bike. Now, on this one, they move the whole tank backwards a little bit, which some people will hate, of course. I like it because it exposes the neck, it exposes the backbone of the bike. They got rid of the coil and all the electrics up here, leaving this space open. I think it's a really cool look. After that, we've just got 8 hangers that will be leaving. I guess I will keep them if somebody decides they actually do want them. I'm not a fan of these hard angle ape hangers. Like if you're gonna have apes, I like them to have curves in them. That's just me though. I just don't like this. And these like weird spider web gussets in here, I think that's pretty Barney, so those are going away. As is the front end, but more on that in a second. Now, outside of aftermarket exhaust and an air cleaner, which you can find on any Sportster pretty much, I think more of them have exhaust and air cleaners than have the stock stuff. But besides that, which we're gonna go ahead and throw in as a given, he's putting a shorty rear fender on here that's paint matched and relocated the license plate holder down to the rear axle. Now, I guess actually we can say, because he did actually chop off his fender struts. Does that make it a chopper? Something's been chopped off the motorcycle. He chopped off the fender struts. It's a chopper. That took some chopping. People will still argue with me in the comments. I just don't care. Anyway, custom tank, custom rear fender, chopped off the fender struts. exhaust, air cleaner, ape hangers. After that, there's really nothing else done to the bike. Really, honestly, a testament to how cool a Sportster can look with very little done to it. Now, I'm of the opinion that you can do just a little bit more and it goes a really long way. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna start up top, and not just the handlebars. That's a stylistic choice more than anything. I'm talking about the controls. This is always something that's a little annoying to me when I see this on bikes that have gotten rid of the turn signals, the high beams, everything that you would need hand controls for besides a start button and a kill switch, which don't need to be up there if you're building a chopper. That's for DOT stuff. If I'm building a bike to look cool, I don't want any buttons up there. Buttons are for gold wings, and I love my gold wings, but they belong on gold wings. Leave them there. They shouldn't be on choppers. Now, while as far as controls go, I think that Harley controls are actually really good looking. They got a really classic look to them. They look a lot better than most controls on motorcycles. Big chunky buttons, nice and simple. Everything you need, nothing you don't. But now we don't need anything at all, so why are these big black donuts still on my handlebars? There's a few different reasons people leave them on the handlebars. A lot of times people are really freaked out about doing anything involving electric on their bike because they don't understand it. We've got our kill switch up here and our starter button. Well, the starter button can be taken care of real easy with a spike starter on the actual starter solenoid itself, and the kill switch, well, just follow that wire back down, wire them together, and now there's no kill switch except for the one on your key. Now, if you have a fuel injected bike, this might be more complicated, but luckily this one still has a good old-fashioned CV40, so I'm not that worried about it. The turn signals, well, the bike ain't got no turn signals. We definitely don't need those. On this side over here, we've of course got the left turn signal, also deleted, the horn button, and the high beam, low beam. Now, if you're putting a chopper headlight on it, like you should, this one has a, I'm gonna look at this thing. Maybe it's just me, but like when these Daymaker headlights came out, I have never liked the way these look. What is up with this robot from the future come back to save mankind thing we got going on over here? I hate the way these headlights look. I don't hate the way they perform. They perform quite well. These LEDs are awesome, but the way they look is terrible. If they're on a high performance bike, I guess who cares? You're going for function over form anyway, but this isn't a high performance bike. It's a chopper, and we don't need this freaking Wall-E space age bike from the future crap on it. Get it out of here and give me an incandescent bulb, man. And when I'm saying an incandescent bulb, I'm talking about old chopper shit, which would just use fog lights from cars, which never had a high beam or a low beam. You don't need your high beam and low beam switch anymore, and we're definitely getting rid of this thing. God, those are ugly. I know when the Daymakers came out, they were really expensive, so it's kind of like a money flex to have these, but anytime I see one of these now, I'm just like, yeah, that probably cost 30 bucks on Amazon, and it just looks so cheap and crappy, even if you paid a lot of money for it. The other big issue is your throttle housing. Over here, the switch housing is also the throttle housing. Biltwell has you covered on that one, or literally, if you've got a carburetor like this one has, all you gotta do is grab a throttle housing off an older Harley from the 60s or 70s, back before all the switches were integrated. Any 1-inch throttle housing, even if it doesn't have 2 wires, and we're definitely doing 1 wire because you don't want 2 wires dangling in the wind on your chopper. You want as little up there as possible. So any 1-inch bar single pull wire will pull your carburetor. After that, a non-switch house integrated front master cylinder, because literally any master cylinder will work. It doesn't have to be a Harley one. All it is a hydraulic pump. If it's the correct bore and it's 1 inch to fit on your handlebars, it will work your front brake. Unless you've got some weird ass ABS system in there. But again, we're dealing with a bike that doesn't have all that crap on it. Same thing with the clutch cable on the other side. All you gotta do is get an old school style 1-inch bar clutch perch, and you're all set up over there, and you don't have the switch housing anymore. So I'm gonna show you guys how to do all of this. This is the first thing we're doing today, so we'll circle right back to this. But let me go over the rest of what we're gonna do to this motorcycle before we start actually turning any wrenches. Here in the back end, we'll be doing a chain conversion, and I know a lot of people are just gonna start saying it right now. It doesn't need a chain conversion. The belt is zero maintenance. The belt is quieter and blah, blah, blah. You're right. It doesn't need a chain conversion. The bike isn't going to be making a ton of power. It's not going to be hauling ass. You're not going to be doing wheelies with it. You're not going to be going off-road with it. It only needs a belt. It doesn't need a chain conversion at all. Well, it also doesn't need aftermarket exhaust. It also doesn't need different handlebars. It definitely doesn't need a custom paint job. The Harley factory paint job probably would have lasted way longer than this. Well, it doesn't even have the Harley factory tank anymore, which was probably way better than that. And the Harley factory fender, which was way better. The fact of the matter is it doesn't need any of this stuff. So why would you put a chain drive on it? Because it looks good. And that's literally the only reason. The belts just make the bike look new. Harley started putting belts on all their bikes in the 1980s 80s, and now every single bike they make has a belt on it outside of the Pan America, and I think a couple other ones here and there had changed. I'm not really sure. Someone will correct me in the comments at the speed of sound if I'm wrong, and I probably am. Anyway, having a belt on your chopper, if you're trying to make your bike look custom, I think it looks pretty bogus, and I would never run a belt on a bike like this. The chain conversions are cheap, they're easy to do, and if you just maintain it just a little bit, it's fine. Literally 99% of every other motorcycle on the planet has a chain, so if you have something that's not a Harley and it's not a shaft drive, then you know how to maintain a chain. It's not that big of a deal, I promise, and it looks really, really good. Back up at the front end, we have the tried and true 39mm telescoping front end. Now, I actually really like these things. They're not high performance, no, they're not. They're freaking spaghetti noodles. They're not a great performing front end. Plenty of stuff you can do to make them one, but ultimately, it'll always be a pretty old school front end. I just like them for their versatility, their dependability, and the fact that they actually don't look bad. Now, I think you can get away with having this front end. I don't think it looks terrible. I think out of all the telescoping front ends on motorcycles, I think that Harley's 39mm front end looks great, especially if you grind off all the headlight tabs and the fender tabs, and if you're not running a front brake, grind off the brake tabs. Another pet peeve of mine is when somebody runs no front fender, no front brake, and then leaves the tabs there. Cut them off. Well, we're gonna do you one better than that, because another pretty damn easy way, I promise you, this is not hard to do. It is incredibly easy and transforms. If I did nothing else, this would transform the entire motorcycle, is to get rid of that front end entirely and put a Springer on it. There's no reason you can't run a Springer on a bike that's not a hardtail. I think a lot of people think that, like, oh, that's just for hardtail, super custom bikes. Like, no, man. Harley Davidson made a factory Springer. There's no reason you can't run a Springer front end on this, and we actually already have the Springer. This will transform the look of your bike, and it's really, really easy to do. Huge thanks to our friends over at TC Bros. Pretty excited about how this bike's gonna look with this. Whoa. If I don't drop it on the ground. Oh, technical difficulties. Maybe I should have taken this plastic off earlier. Okay, here we go. Huge thanks to our friends over at TC Bros. I'm pretty damn excited about how this Springer is gonna look on this Sportster. Even though it doesn't make it a chopper by putting a Springer front end on it, this is a bolt-on part, not a chop-off, chop-on part. Either way, it makes it look way more like a chopper. Well, no time like the present. Let's get started. First things first, I'm gonna go ahead and remove this gas tank, since we're gonna be taking the front end off and messing with wires. The paint job right now, before I put anything else on it, is definitely the coolest part of the bike. So let's try not to mess that up. Whoever did this previously already has the speedo and the turn signals removed, so those are just hanging in the breeze. We're just gonna go ahead and get rid of everything else. Some sort of weird heat wrap shrink on these things. I'm not sure what it is. I could just cut them off over here and leave these things on here, and you know what? I think that's what I'm gonna do. That way we have these plastic things just freaking out of here. All we need to do on these, let me see if you guys can get a closer look. To make it run, and of course you'll still need a start switch, but to make it run, to eliminate the kill switch and the starter button and all the stuff up there that we have. Oh yeah, the headlights too. Looks like he probably has them on either bright all the time or low all the time, but the headlights are not actually running up to the handlebar. So here it is, the high beam and low beam disconnected up there. So all we're gonna need to put together is a couple different wires and splice those together and then tuck them out of the way under here in order to make the bike work. On the black plug, we'll need to splice together the white and black wire and the gray wire and then tape them up. And on the gray plug, we're gonna splice together white, blue, and yellow. I know it seems scary to just cut off wiring harnesses, but it's a chopper, baby. That's exactly what we're gonna do. If you're gonna make a chopper, you can't be afraid to chop. That's one. This is probably making people cringe. Make sure I'm not getting anything I'm not supposed to. And two, we can also get rid of these ugly housings, so they're not hanging out down here either, which will make it look even better, in my opinion, anyway. Only wire, the only electrical wire, will be the headlight, just like nature intended choppers to be. We're gonna go ahead and be good boys, not use tape, and use a waterproof butt connector instead. And then the rest of the wires, I'll slap some heat shrink on them just to protect them and stick them back in there. If this was my bike, and it's not, this already belongs to someone who's bought a raffle ticket or someone who is going to buy a raffle ticket, well, I probably would have just used electrical tape, but it's not my bike, so we're gonna do it right. I mean, kinda right. We are just eliminating all the handlebar controls, so that is wrong. So if we're gonna do the wrong thing, we gotta do at least one or two right things, right? Right. Glad we're in agreement. Come on, you bastard. God damn it. Okay, take 3. You know, these freaking things are really cool right up until they don't work. There we go. And just a little bit of heat shrink on the rest of them to keep them together and keep them free from moisture. Even though, honestly, this is probably overkill. I doubt I really need to do this. Stick these guys back in the harness and we are good to go. Whoa, she's at it again, baby. Whoa, whoa, give them both barrels, kiddo.
Can't handle these Gundam trucks.
I'm gonna have to blur that out. Full barrel, baby. Ain't no free sock content on this channel.
Check out this really cool shirt I'm wearing that you could also be wearing too if you were shopping at brapstar.com.
And that concludes our commercial break. Shaylisi is packing up all your orders from last night. If you put in an order right now, I can promise you that Shaylisi will print it out while this premiere is happening and pack it personally.
Usually pack things a little more delicately than Josh. Josh just takes your shirt out of the box and shoves it in the bag. I like to fold them on the shelf and then I put them in this nice little wrapping paper. It's this Brapstar sticker.
You're so nice. I'm just mashing it when I do it.
Wait, I forgot his gift!
Oh God. I'll be honest, guys. I feel betrayed. Betrayed by Honda. I bent down the other day to take a picture of the rear tire to share with the Discord what a truly cupped and squared off rear tire looks like. And the rear tire in the Goldwing is certainly cupped and certainly squared off, but also completely separating. Not that I should need to have a reminder, but just a reminder that you should always be inspecting your tires, and especially inspecting your tires on a motorcycle where you can't see them. Because if I hadn't bent down here to take this picture, I don't know if I would have ever seen it. I don't know if I would have ever noticed it because on GL 1500s, you can barely see any part of the rear tire at all. Ultimate anime betrayal by the Honda Goldwing. Luckily, there is another. Oh, set it down on the kickstand without it falling over. Ugh. My dramatic reveal almost got a little too dramatic. All right, cool. There is another. You know, it's a pretty sad day when the Honda Goldwing has got to get rescued by an FXR. But luckily, it was here to pick up the slack and get these Brapstar packages to the USPS. Don't fall over now. I was just singing your praises. There's a bag of onions in there. Didn't even need the damn rock straps. Black magic ritual completed. Commence to jiggling. Now, it is a brisk 56 out in Tampa. What the hell is going on here? The freaking Tesla towing a mowing rig? Dude, that guy probably is living in 3025 with some sort of crazy, insane business tax break he got by making an electric vehicle his work vehicle. That is just so many different levels of strange thinking about it for a second. First off, a nice ass Tesla towing a bunch of dirty, greasy lawn equipment, gasoline powered, 2-stroke weed eaters, all that stuff. And I want to give them props. There are insane tax breaks out there that seem a little too insane if you ask me, if you make electric vehicles your work vehicles. So that's why I can't blame anybody for taking advantage of the system. If it's there to be taken advantage of and somebody does it, who's to blame? But the funniest, weirdest thing about seeing that and assuming he's doing it for a tax break is the fact that a lawn guy in Florida is actually claiming any money on his taxes. That definitely makes him a rare breed of lawn guy, that's for damn sure. Every lawn guy I've ever met, man, they call that sticky money, baby, because it sticks to your pockets. If I had to make an educated guess, I would say that he's probably claiming just enough on his lawn business to not get slapped by Big Brother, and then using the Tesla to take that little bit he's claiming all the way down to zero. Raise one up for my boy over there. Here's the real men of genius. Oh, it is a bad day to be a United States streets, postal worker. You know when Vomit Comet shows up with little bundles of evil for all the bad girls and boys out there? Seeds of destruction by Brapstar falling from the heavens as delivered by Vomit Comet. Bye con huevos, mi amigos. Till we do battle again. Which probably won't be too long from now. Now, you can always tell when one of the girls pack the Brapstar orders, because when I do it, I kind of just mash it in there. When Shay Lisi does it, she makes it all pretty light. I think I care just as much as she does. I just show it in a more violent way. We appreciate all y'all's support so much. You guys keep this channel independent. Now, let's get back to working on a very different Evo Harley Davidson than this one. All right, team, another day, another well, I guess it's not another dollar. Hey, it's all right. Bert sprang for the bike. The least I can do is spring for a Springer when it's for charity. So let's throw that sucker on there. Strapping a bike down from the back instead of the front always sketches me out. I'll tell you, that's why I've got plenty of these hanging around in the garage. These are Rhino straps. I use them everywhere to transport motorcycles, to hold motorcycles down. No affiliation, although I'd take one. Used to hate them. I left them a bad review on Amazon once because they used to come with this weird sort of like protective coating on the webbing that made them slip when you first started using them, but they don't put it on there anymore, and these are awesome. I have a link to them down below, but once again, no affiliation. Although I think their biggest claim to fame is when I spun around a 720 degrees across 4 lanes of highway with a 2,000-pound boat in tow. Those straps, those friction straps, kept that boat on the trailer the entire time. I think they can handle a motorcycle. The brake bolts are metric, but I always remember that this entire thing is covered with both metric and standard parts. And these little guys right here are always 11/32, which is not exactly a size you see around super often, which may be why I remembered that. It's actually not 11/32. 5/16 out of all sizes, although now that I'm actually thinking about it, I guess it could just be an 8. I guess the 8 and 5/16 are kind of interchangeable in the same way that 1/2 inch and 13 millimeter are. Anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and bitch that it's another mishmash of standard metric parts. Let's try a bigger hammer. There we go. Holy crap, somebody meant it when they put this on. Remember, a screwdriver is not a punch. Do not use a hammer on them, unless you're me, and then you're allowed to. I have special permission. So if we've got standard and metric, what is Torx? Torx is just fasteners without borders, huh? Golly, who put that on there? Were they as aggressive over here? Okay, not as aggressive. Either that or I'm getting stronger. That's not supposed to be stuck in there like that. There we go. I'll tell you, taking bearings and bearing races in and out is never my favorite thing in the world, but having the right tools to do it, having a puller and having a driver really make a big difference. Though I've seen Joe the Mountain Jedi do it with the wrong tools plenty of times just fine. Though I guess there are no wrong tools, just bad technique. And if you're like me and you already know you have bad technique, you should try to have the right tools around. I think we're in, boys. You guys want to see something really cool and also really hilarious at the same time? Check this out. Really cool, right? Really hilarious, as in I bought the wrong Springer front end. This is for a pre-2003 Sportster, and this is a 2004. Only a year off, but apparently it's an important year. We're gonna go ahead and take a mental health break. I mean, we'd have to take a break anyway because this isn't fitting on, but we're definitely taking a mental health break here for a minute. Okie dokie. After a much needed mental health break, banging my head against the wall after I ordered the wrong Springer front end, we're back at the Sportster with another Springer front end in the mail. Life is hard. It's harder when you're stupid. Now let's install this push button spike starter. Eliminating the controls is not impossible without doing this, because you could always run another starter push button somewhere. But this is just a really easy, cheap solution that cleans everything up. You can buy nicer ones, that's for sure. This is just one off of Amazon, 25 bucks. 1-day delivery. I've put these on plenty of bikes and I've never had one fail. That doesn't mean they can't fail, but there's really not much to them. It's really just a plunger. That's it. And it just manually pushes the starter in and there you go. Eliminates your button. Remember, hammers and screwdrivers don't mix, unless you're me. I've got permission. Should go without saying, definitely make sure your battery's not connected for this. This doesn't come with a new gasket, so I'm just gonna go ahead and reuse the old one. Not surprising, considering it's a $25 Buddy Bezos 1-day special, made out of pure Chinesium. But that's all right, because I'm pretty sure the expensive ones that you can buy are probably just made in the same factory on a different floor. Push that button in and away you go. Still got to turn the key on, so let's throw the battery back in it, turn on the key and see if I wired everything correctly. All right, moment of truth. Hopefully you don't let any smoke out. Yep, works fine. Now let's see if it actually makes spark, because the deal with these is if your key is in the off position, it'll still crank if you push this in. There just won't be any spark. Got my handy dandy spark tester here. Super convenient and definitely worth the $5 I paid for it from the People's Republic of Harbor Freight. All right, key in the off position. And now key in the on position. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me Reba McEntire. Well, this looked way more like a motorcycle at the beginning of this video, didn't it? Unfortunately, until the new Springer front end comes in, this is about where we're gonna have to leave it. I've got my throttle housing, I got my brakes, I got the brakes for the Springer. I've got everything I need to finish it up, just can't really put it back together until I have that new Springer front end. And of course, I've still got the 39mm, and I'll be keeping it if anybody wants to switch back to the 39mm front end. But if you do, hey, I'll put it right back on there for you, and I'll just keep the Springer. I can always find a use for something like that around here, trust me. Now, if you watch this video, don't think that you're an expert on choppers now, and I've explained the mysteries of what a chopper is to you, because I'm not an expert whatsoever. I've built a couple choppers, sure, but you know, arguable whether they're any good or not, but I think that applies to every chopper in the world. It's an art form, baby, and art is subjective, of course. I know what I like. I know how I like to use the word chopper. I am merely an enthusiast. I like bike. I'm not an expert. I'm not heavily involved in the scene. I'm not anything. I ain't shit, and neither is most other people either. So take what they say with a grain of salt too. You just take what I say with like the whole shaker of salt. I think ultimately when it comes to a chopper style motorcycle, whether it's an actual chopper or just a chopper style, what I like is for them to be form over function. That doesn't mean they have to have zero function, but form comes first. Now in some other bikes, I think there's a beauty in putting function over form and having something utilitarian. I think that can be very beautiful in certain applications. This just isn't one of them. And if you disagree with me, you can go ahead and step right up to me and give me a big old hug. I don't care if you disagree with me at all. These are just like my opinions, man. That's gonna about do it for this one. Don't forget that this bike, even though it doesn't look like much right now, but this bike could be your bike. That link is down below. And of course, any ticket bought, no matter if you win this bike or not, still enters you to win the Supercharged Road Glide. 100% of all proceeds from this raffle are going directly to help homeless veterans here in America, help get them off the street with the help of Bert's Salute to America Foundation. Once again, that link's down below. Appreciate you guys being bad people doing good things. Until next time, keep it weird.
Crashing through the sky comes a fearful cry. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Armies of the night, evil taking flight. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Panic spreading far and wide. Can the world oppose the deadliest of foes? Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Who will up, they never say die, walking tall with banners high. Shade Tree Army, a ruthless gang of scum, villains, freaks, and bikers determined to rule the world.